Hello and good evening for this Sunday, December 17th, 2023. We are here for our next installment of Star Trek Radio Theater. It has been a minute, well, many minutes now, but 8 months since our last installment, but we're ready to get started here again for a great story this December, a Christmas miracle, you might call it. We're here to do Star Trek The Next Generation's Time's Arrow, Part 1 and 2. So it's almost like we're doing a movie tonight. I'm Dave Mader. We're really excited to bring this story to you. We're going to have the whole cast bring this to life to you tonight. I'm playing Picard, my wife Jane here playing Beverly Crusher and some evil aliens and some other things. So we should bring out the whole cast at the end and run through who did what. But I just want to credit the story by Joe Menosky. And the teleplays by Joe Menosky, Michael Pillar, and Jeri Taylor, depending on what part of the story we're talking about, because this was a season 5 cliffhanger, season 6 opener, and we're just playing it through like it's one big thing, which it kind of is. All right. Well, with that in mind, we're gonna go off camera. Maybe we'll go down here once. I don't know. Like, up to people if they're comfortable with that. They can always turn off their camera. And we're gonna see how it goes as we're gonna get into the script tonight. All right. And with that, we'll play up the first clip and get into it. Okay. And go. Captain's log, stardate 45959.1. The Enterprise has been recalled to Sector 001 on a priority mission. All we've been told is that evidence has been discovered indicating the presence of extraterrestrials on Earth 5 centuries ago.
We focus on a cavern near Starfleet headquarters. A scientist leads Picard and Data to an old wooden crate draped in a cloth.
Work crews were down here installing seismic regulators when they found some remarkable artifacts.
And it's been determined that they date back to the 19th century.
Yes.
He pulls back the sheet to reveal the items.
The bifocal vision aid is typical of the era.
Data examines an old pair of glasses, and Picard picks up a pistol.
The weapon is a .45 caliber double-action cavalry pistol invented by Colt Firearms in 1873.
Here, look inside the watch.
The scientist hands Data a pocket watch. It contains an engraving. To SLC with love, 30th of November, 1889.
What makes you think that extraterrestrials are related to these discoveries?
The crew was having a problem with the regulators. Something inside the cavern was interfering with the phase conditioners. It turned out to be the cavern itself.
Data gets out his tricorder and begins a scan of the cavern.
The composition of the exposed rock face has been altered by exposure to triolic waves,
which you're not going to find on Earth in either the 19th or the 24th century.
Triolic waves?
The byproduct of an energy source employed by very few species because of its deleterious effect on living tissue.
We've confirmed that no one has been in or out of this cavern in centuries, so we're left with a 500-year-old mystery.
I'm curious, Doctor. There are far greater experts on Earth to investigate your mystery. Why bring the Enterprise all the way home?
As we continued our excavation, we found one other thing I haven't shown you yet. We tried to leave everything as we found it.
The scientist pulls back another sheet, and to Data and Picard's horror, there lies Data's decapitated head.
Oh, that's the wrong dun. Whoops.
It works.
Anyway. Captain's log, stardate 45960.2. We have been transported the materials discovered in the cavern back to the ship for analysis. I wish I could be as dispassionate about the implications as my second officer.
We focus on engineering. Data is checking himself out. His dead, severed head, I mean. Riker and Picard are watching.
Interesting. There is a 12% decomposition of the bitanium in the neural pathway links. That suggests the alloys are vulnerable to...
Data, how can you look inside that? Analyze the decomposition without...
Emotion, sir?
Yes.
I am simply trying to make an objective assessment.
Data, is this yours?
I believe so, sir.
Could it be lore?
No, sir. My brother's positronic brain has a Type L phase discriminating amplifier. Mine is a Type R.
Type R.
Yes, sir.
Can you predict how long this has been in the cavern?
Decomposition strongly indicates that life was terminated approximately 500 years ago. That would be consistent with the other artifacts we recovered.
Bro, your head is not an artifact.
In relative terms, perhaps not. Nevertheless, it seems clear that my life is to end in the late 19th century.
Yeah, not if we can help it.
There is no way anyone can prevent it, sir. At some future date, I will be transported back to 19th century Earth, where I will die. It has occurred. It will occur.
LaForge joins the conversation.
Well, I can't tell you exactly who the aliens were, but I have found out a few things. The triolicized rock face tells us that we're probably dealing with a species with microcentrum cell membranes. Triolic waves wouldn't harm them. It also might mean they're shapeshifters of some kind.
So, what you're telling me is they could have appeared on Earth as humans?
I don't think it's anyone we've run into before. Nothing we found matches up with any known life forms. What does match up is a cellular fossil, which might have been along just for the ride.
A cellular fossil.
A microscopic ciliated life form, not unlike 1,000 other single-celled life forms you'd find on any planet's surface, except this particular one is LB10445, and LB10445 is only known to exist in one place, Davidia 2 in the Marab sector.
Number one, lay the course.
On my way.
We focus on 10 forward. Geordi and Data are sitting together at the bar.
So, do you want to talk about it?
Are you referring to the foreknowledge of my death?
Yeah.
I have no particular desire to discuss the matter. Do you need to talk about it?
Yeah.
Why?
Data, this has got to bother you a little.
On the contrary, I find it rather comforting.
Comforting?
I have often wondered about my own mortality, as I have seen others around my age. Until now, it has been theoretically possible that I would live an unlimited period of time. And although some might find this attractive, to me, it only reinforces the fact that I am artificial.
I never knew how tough this must be for you.
Tough, as in difficult?
Knowing that you would outlive all your friends.
I expected to make new friends,
True.
and then outlive them as well.
Now that you know you might not.
It provides a sense of completion to my future. In a way, I am not that different from anyone else. I can now look forward to death.
I never thought about it that way.
One might also conclude that it brings me one step closer to being human. I am mortal.
Picard to bridge officers. We're approaching the Davidia system. Report to your stations.
Data rises from his seat.
I'll see you later. Let's get together for a game of chess or something, okay?
Data nods and leaves. Guinan comes over to Geordi.
That sounded like a very intense discussion.
Yeah, they found Data's head a mile beneath San Francisco. Been down there about 5 centuries.
That's why the Enterprise has been sent back to Earth. I didn't realize.
It's something, isn't it? He seems fine about it. Better than I am. Well, I'd better get to engineering.
Geordi leaves, but Guinan barely notices. She's deep in contemplation.
Full circle.
We focus on an Enterprise corridor. Riker and Troy are taking a stroll. Riker looks pissed.
I heard about Data.
Yeah.
It's having an unusually traumatic effect on everyone.
Yeah.
If you don't want to talk about it, it's okay.
I'm fine. I'm just...
Angry?
I'm not angry. Okay, yeah, I'm angry. Why should I be angry?
Riker and Troy stop at a set of turbolift doors.
Maybe because it reminds us of our own mortality.
I just don't want to believe it.
Have you ever heard Data define friendship?
No.
How did he put it? As I experience certain sensory input patterns, my mental pathways become accustomed to them. The inputs eventually are anticipated and even missed when absent.
So, what's the point?
He's used to us, and we're used to him.
The turbolift arrives, the doors open, and...
It's like finding out someone you love has a terminal illness and...
Data.
Counselor, Commander.
Riker and Troy join Data on the turbolift. Neither of them states a destination, so I guess they've decided to just join Data wherever he's going.
Would either of you mind if I made a personal inquiry?
Personal inquiry? No, go right ahead.
I am perceiving an apparent change in the way others behave toward me. For example, people abruptly end conversations when I appear, just as you did when the turbolift doors opened. Is that an accurate observation?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
You're right, Data. And it's not a very nice thing to do.
It's just that our mental pathways have become accustomed to your sensory input patterns.
The turbolift comes to a halt and the doors open.
I understand. I am also fond of you, Commander, and you as well, Counselor.
The three depart the turbolift. We focus on the bridge. Picard enters from his ready room. Data is at ops and Worf is at tactical. Riker is there too.
We're in orbit.
Any sign of life?
Negative, sir.
Captain, sensors are picking up an unusual temporal disturbance on a small area of the planet's surface, 42 degrees 7 minutes north by 88 degrees declination east.
You lost me at temporal disturbance.
Put us in a standard orbit above those coordinates.
Spectral analysis shows a high level of triolic waves emanating from the same location.
Is there any correlation with the readings from Earth?
Affirmative, sir. The magnetic signature is identical to the one found in the cavern.
Would these triolic waves be dangerous to humanoids?
Only with long-term exposure, sir. There's no immediate threat.
Picard turns to Riker.
Take it away, team.
Worf, Geordi, Troy, join me in Transporter Room 3 for the away team.
Data springs up from his chair.
Commander.
The away team enter the turbolift.
Mr. Data, I'll need your help to monitor these sensor readings during this investigation.
Captain, may I speak to you alone?
Picard and Data leave the bridge and enter the ready room.
Sir, it is standard procedure that the second officer accompany the away team.
Yes, Mr. Data. I am aware of that.
Then I must assume your decision is related to the discovery on Earth.
I think it is reasonable to take precautions.
Captain, there is no rational justification for this course.
Then I'll be irrational.
It is possible, sir, that the events leading to my death will not occur for years, even centuries.
I hope that's true, Mr. Data. Nevertheless, this investigation began with your death. I am simply trying to see that it doesn't end that way.
I appreciate your concern, Captain, but to employ an aphorism, one cannot cheat fate.
Cheat fate? Perhaps we can't, Mr. Data, but at least we can give it a try.
We focus on a Davidia cavern. The away team beams in. The lighting is scarce and it casts odd shadows on the rock face behind them. Geordi begins his scans.
The concentration of triolic waves falls off about here. It increases exponentially the closer in we go.
What's the source? Something underground?
Negative, Commander.
Then what's the explanation?
I don't have one. Why isn't this comm badge working? LaForge to Enterprise.
Go ahead.
Data, run a spectral field correlation for me. Let's find out if these triolic readings are in any way related to the temporal distortions.
Acknowledged.
The team continues to move further into the cave.
Deanna?
Riker finds her in a large open cavern with rock pillars and a glowing pool in the middle.
There's life here! A child! An old woman! Dozens more! Hundreds! Terrified!
Terrified?
My God, Will! They're human!
We focus on the bridge. Riker is filling the captain in on their findings.
Whatever they are, Troy's convinced they're human. They may be trapped somehow. We're not sure.
Captain, the results of my temporal analysis may be pertinent.
Go ahead.
Geordi, it indicates a synchronic distortion in the areas emanating triolic waves.
We focus on the Davidia cavern. The away team is playing follow the leader through the cavern.
That explains a few things. How much, Data?
A positive displacement of 0.004%.
Well, whatever or whoever is there, we're out of phase with it. But we're only talking by a fraction of a second.
A fraction of a second would make them invisible?
A millisecond? A year? It wouldn't make any difference. If what we're reading is true, then we're occupying the same space, but in a different time.
How do we compensate?
Commander, we might be able to manipulate the synchronic distortion.
Maybe, if we were able to create a contained subspace force field. But to get a 0.004 variance, we'd need an incredibly sensitive phase discriminator. Data, I don't think we've got one that would come close.
We focus on the bridge.
Yes, we do. It is built into my positronic decompiler.
Data looks to Picard.
It will be necessary for me to join the away team, sir.
Picard hesitates and then looks resigned.
Proceed, Mr. Data.
Data leaves the bridge. We focus on the Davidia cavern. Data joins the away team.
Mr. Data?
Sir.
Let me give you a hand with that, Data.
Geordi takes a device that Data has brought and begins to scan it.
Once I have adjusted the force field, I will no longer be visible, Commander. I have taken steps, however, to ensure that you will still be able to hear me if you would assist me in a test of the comm system. My voice will be transmitted on a delay correlated to the phase adjustment. That should allow me to maintain verbal contact.
Will we be able to talk to you?
No, sir, that will not be possible.
The subspace field has been established. You're set to go, Data.
Adjusting the synchronic distortion, 0.001, 0.002,
Data begins to phase out.
0.003, 0.004.
Data phases out entirely and can no longer be seen. His voice is distorted. The rest of the away team listens as Data describes what he sees.
I have made visual contact. There are life forms here. They're either unaware of me or choosing to ignore me. I'm moving approximately 10 meters north of my starting position to observe more closely. They range from 2 to 3 meters in height, silver gray in color. They have 4 limbs, no eyes or ears are noticeable. There is a single orifice where a humanoid forehead would ordinarily be. They are reclined against the rock face, surrounding an apparatus of some sort, approximately 1.5 meters in height. It is releasing what appears to be energy fragments, which are then ingested by the entities through the orifice, perhaps some sort of nourishment. The upper portion of the apparatus seems to be holding a facility for the energy segments. There are hundreds, perhaps thousands of these fragments inside. I have resumed a northerly direction. There is no evidence yet of humans.
Okay, Data. That's enough. Come on back now.
I have encountered another life form, an Ophidian. It seems to be restricted by a force field. 2 of the silver gray entities are approaching it. They have released the force field.
Data begins to cut in and out.
I am reading a temporal distortion of mass proportions. The Ophidian is Capt. Time, space, continuum. In the after effect, I am attempting.
There is a flash and the force field generator falls to the ground.
Data!
Over here! Commander Riker, report!
Geordi scans the generator.
We've lost him.
We focus on a street. Data wakes up on a cobbled street in front of the number 5 firehouse. A horse-drawn carriage goes by. Data takes in his surroundings. He tries to get a couple people's attentions and eventually stops 2 men passing by.
Excuse me. Pardon me. I am searching for 2 individuals with an Ophidian snake.
Frenchman.
He and his companion laugh and walk on. Data finds a discarded copy of the San Francisco Register, dated Sunday, August 13th, 1893, proclaiming a cholera outbreak. A dirty old man calls to him.
Could you help out a 49er? I fell down a shaft. I got blown up in a tunnel.
That is unfortunate.
It is most unfortunate. I required large amounts of whiskey as a liniment.
I am sorry. I have no whiskey to give you.
I'll take a dime.
I am sorry, but I have no form of legal tender.
Well, we're in the same boat, huh? Well, this is my street. You'll have to go find one of your own.
I would be happy to do so, but I am presently in search of information.
Stockbrokers are cheap as hell. Don't even bother to ask. Your best handout is from a young fella with his lady. You give him a chance to show her he's generous. Steer clear of sailors. Most likely, you'll get a fist across the jaw for your trouble.
Thank you for your advice, but I'm trying to find 2 individuals with a snake.
A snake? You're an odd fellow, aren't you? But just don't be too particular about where you get your funds from.
You are in need of medical attention. I will get a doctor.
No. It's too late for that.
The old man waves Data off and spots another passerby. He chases them down.
Could you help out a 49er?
Data looks up and notices he is outside the Hotel Brian. A young bellboy loads up a carriage with a case, and the gentleman drops a coin in his hand.
Thanks.
There are 2 men standing nearby. The bellboy hands over his tip to one of them.
Hey, put it on Gentleman Jim. Knock out in the 5th.
All right!
As the bellboy heads back into the hotel, Data stops him.
Sir, I need temporary lodging.
Looks like the missus booted you out in the middle of the night.
I understand the source of your misperception. However, this is not sleepwear, and I do not have a missus.
Wow.
I am a Frenchman.
Oh, well, everyone's from somewhere. It doesn't matter at this hotel. 6 bits a day or $4 a week.
I have no money.
Well, now that matter.
But I am capable of performing significant tasks, both mental and physical. Perhaps your hotel could offer me a job.
Geez, I don't know. We're pretty happy with the maid we got. Cook's decent. Dishwasher's drunk all day, but at least he gets here in time. And there's me. I do everything else. Sorry.
The bellboy begins to walk away as a downtrodden man leaves the hotel.
Lady Luck not with you tonight, mister? Oh, Mr. Lane, poor fella. He hasn't filled a straight in 5 weeks.
Data looks intrigued.
Poker.
We focus on a poker room. Data enters the smoke-filled room. A seaman, a ruffian, a native, and a gentleman sit around a poker table. The gentleman has a face that is reminiscent of a certain Cardassian nemesis from the future.
Fold.
Me too.
Go to blazes, arr!
The seaman throws his cards down on the table in disgust. The gentleman turns to the native man.
A poker face carved in marble.
They both chuckle as the native man collects his winnings.
Excuse me, gentlemen.
What the hell do you want?
I would like to join the game.
Pale face?
I don't like his nerves, personally. Arr.
I am a Frenchman.
Ah, mes parents sont originaires de Bourgeois. Je suis né à la Nouvelle-Orléans.
Alors, nous sommes presque frères. Je suis heureux de vous connaître.
The gentleman is amused and invites Data to join them.
Please, sir.
Data pulls up a chair between the seaman and the ruffian.
The game is poker. The deal is yours. The ante is 4 bits.
Everyone throws in their coins. Data puts his comm badge on the table.
Family heirloom.
The seaman picks up the comm badge to examine it.
In a manner of speaking, it is a crystalline composite of silicone, beryllium, carbon 70, and
Arr, gold!
gold.
The gentleman picks it up and holds out some coins.
I'll give you $3 for it.
I accept.
Data begins to deal. We focus on a hotel room. The bellboy lets Data into the room. Data has acquired the native men's bowler hat with feather and the gambler's fancy waistcoat. He looks quite spiffy.
Did you see the looks on their faces? I did everything I could not to laugh.
To whom are you referring?
Data hangs his new hat up on the coat rack. The bellboy begins to straighten Data's room.
Frederick LaRogue and Joe Following Hawk. Those guys are card sharks. Just sure. They play easy not to scare off the marks, but give them a little time, they bleed a man dry. Especially an out-of-towner like you.
What was the source of your jocular reaction? What was it you found humorous?
Oh, don't you see? They had you pegged for a sap. The clothes you got on, the way you talk. Like you were born yesterday. Sure fooled them, though.
It was not my intention to deceive.
Have it your way. This is the place. Breakfast is 6 to 8. Checkouts at noon when you're ready to leave.
The bellboy tosses Data the key and holds out his hand.
Thank you.
Data looks at the outstretched hand and shakes it.
It has been a pleasure.
The bellboy clears his throat, his hand still outstretched.
It would be advisable to monitor that cough. I've read that there is currently a cholera epidemic in San Francisco.
Data sits down at a desk and begins to write. The bellboy follows him over, hand still out.
Never felt better.
Data looks at the man, and then at his hand, and realizes his mistake.
Of course, the gratuity. Thank you for your assistance.
$1? If there's anything you need, it could get lonely in San Francisco. If you want, I might want some company. I can introduce you to.
I have no need for companionship. However, I do require some supplies.
Anything you need, I can get it wholesale. If you need it for less than wholesale, if you don't need it legal.
Data hands him the list he has been writing.
What do you need all this stuff for?
I am an inventor.
No kidding. Well, this stuff's going to take a while. I got to go across town. Not going to be cheap.
Data takes a wad of cash from his waistcoat pocket.
Will this be enough?
More than enough.
You may retain the surplus for yourself.
Keep the change?
Exactly.
Done.
The bellboy rushes off. We focus on an alley. The bellboy runs out the back of the hotel, past the old man Data encountered earlier in the day, muttering to himself.
Help out a 49er. Fell down a shaft. 49er, help me out.
A tall, slim, elegantly dressed man with a snake's head cane and a tall, slim, elegantly dressed woman with a case approach.
No.
The woman holds up her case and points it at the old man. A beam of light emanates from the case, striking the man in the chest and killing him.
Captain's log, supplemental. Close-range sensor analysis has yielded no further trace of Commander Data. Despite the emotional repercussions among my crew, I must move this mission forward.
We focus on the observation lounge. Picard is briefing his senior staff.
I'm not willing to accept that he's dead and just leave it at that.
We cannot make Mr. Data our priority.
What's more important than Data?
Look at what we have so far. Evidence that these aliens have been traveling back in time to Earth.
What if they're trying to undermine our history for some reason?
Some kind of guerrilla war?
We must assume that there is a threat, if not to us, then to the 19th century Earth. We have to determine what that threat may be. Mr. LaForge, we have to find some way to communicate with these life forms.
It's not going to be easy to reproduce what Data did. We can create a contained subspace field, but we'd need an extraordinarily sensitive phase discriminator to get that .004 variance.
Can you build one?
It won't be as good as Data's.
But will it be good enough?
I don't know. I can try. I'm going to take some time. It's going to take some time, though.
I don't want anyone else going in alone.
I can probably create a large enough subspace field to encompass everyone. But adjusting the phase inside the field, that's going to be the hard part.
Make it so.
We have to assume one thing, sir. Wherever Data may be, he's doing the same thing we are, which is trying to get to the bottom of this. He might have a better idea about what's going on than we do. So it might be in the best interest of this mission to find him.
Perhaps in the course of this investigation, we will. I sure hope so.
If we find Commander Data, it may be our fate to die with him in the past. If our remains are in that cavern, they would have turned to dust long ago.
Is that true? I don't know.
We focus on 10 forward. Guinan is concocting a drink, sprinkling some powder in and stirring carefully. Picard enters.
I'm afraid to interrupt.
Captain, you didn't have to come all the way down here. I would have been more than happy to come up to you.
And miss all this. I haven't seen such a complex operation since the Academy lab final in exochemistry.
It's a Sartak aperitif. It's very, very touchy. The trick is to change the evaporation point of the main ingredient. You want the temperature where the liquid goes to vapor to be 0.5 degree below the body temperature of the customer. That way, when the liquid touches the tongue, it evaporates, and the flavor is carried entirely by the vapor. A few molecules off, the vapor point crashes, and poof, it's all gone. All of it.
Oh, I see. What is it you wanted to see me about?
I hear you're sending an away team down to the surface. Are you going?
Well, now, this is rather unusual for you to be curious about an away mission.
Maybe it's an unusual away mission.
If you have something to say, I'm listening.
Starfleet captains don't usually accompany away teams.
It's general policy.
This time, you have to.
Why?
You just do. Do you remember the first time we met?
Of course.
Don't be so sure. I just mean, if you don't go on this mission.
Guinan messes up the drink, probably on purpose to help make her point, and all of the liquid vaporizes.
We'll never meet.
We focus on Data's hotel room. Data has changed into clothing more fitting for the time period he is in. He is sitting at the desk working on some sort of contraption. The bellboy stumbles in with an anvil and drops it on the floor. He is out of breath.
Even.
Is he there?
Sorry it took so long, Mr. Data.
Apology is not necessary.
Data picks up the anvil in one hand with no effort and begins to cross the room. The bellboy utters an exclamation of shock.
Whoa! Hey!
Data realizes his mistake and drops the anvil, feigning injury.
Ow.
Are you alright?
I believe I have overexerted myself.
Yeah, I'll say. Did you get it working?
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Data hands over another generous tip.
This is for your trouble.
What are you going to do with the anvil?
I require a low-intensity magnetic field core. I believe the iron mass of the anvil will provide that.
What's it going to be when it's finished?
What do you think it is going to be?
If I were to guess, maybe a new kind of motor for one of them horseless carriages.
That is a good guess.
God damn. You really think there's money in those things?
Perhaps.
Isn't that what makes America great?
To what are you referring?
Well, a man takes a ride into town in his pajamas, wins a grub steak at a poker table, turns it into a horseless carriage, and makes $1 million. That's America.
I believe I've given you an erroneous impression.
You know, someday my ship's gonna come in.
You have a ship.
Oh yeah, it's full of gold too. I'm just biding my time until it gets here, raising a stake in any way I can. I've been a newsie, caught fish for a cannery. Heck, I've even been an oyster pirate.
You have had a considerable spectrum of occupations.
Yeah, well, I can't stay in one place too long. I'm always looking for the angle, you know? Say, maybe you and I could go into business together, selling your horseless carriages and all. You invent them, I sell them. I can sell anybody anything. What do you say?
I believe your plan is a bit premature.
Keep it in mind, though. I better get back. Oh, I forgot. I got you something on the bakery on 3rd.
He pulls out a folded newspaper and puts it on Data's desk.
Thank you, Jack.
Data reaches for his pocket.
Oh, no. It's on me, partner.
The bellboy leaves. In the paper is a squashed croissant. As Data sets that aside, he notices a picture of a woman who looks exactly like Guinan, over the headline, Literary Reception Announced. We focus on a ballroom. The literary reception is taking place. The room is filled with tables of punch and silver platters filled with hors d'oeuvres and canapes. Samuel Clemens, better known by his pen name Mark Twain, is sharing his thoughts with the reception attendees, high society aristocrats whom include Guinan.
The eminent scientist Alfred Russel Wallace has revived the theory that Earth is at the center of the stellar universe.
Samuel Clemens lights a cigar.
This distinguished natural philosopher has reaffirmed our planet as the only habitable globe in the heavens. A world furthermore constructed for the sole benefit of man. He's got a lot of folks excited about the notion.
Guinan hands him a glass of punch.
My dear Mr. Clemens, why do I think you're not one of them?
I do declare, Madam Guinan, that Time Zero has been very kind to you. But your suspicions are undoubtedly based upon your keen observational skills. Now, If you'll permit me, I'll continue my character assassination unimpeded.
My dear Mr. Clemens, please do blather on.
According to our best geologic estimate, the Earth is approximately 100 million years of age. Perhaps it is less, perhaps more.
Perhaps a great deal more.
Oh.
Indeed. But regardless, it is ancient in the extreme. Now, geology also tells us that man himself has existed for but a microscopic fraction of those years. Curious, isn't it, that the world got by for such a great long while with no humans around to fill up space?
Oh, wow.
I suppose Mr. Wallace and his supporters would say that the Earth needed all that time to prepare itself for our illustrious arrival.
A waiter presents Mr. Clemens with a tray of oysters.
Why, the oyster alone probably required 15 million years to get it to come out just right.
But if the Earth is not alone and there are millions of inhabited planets in the heavens.
Quite my point. Man becomes a trivial creation, does he not? Lost in the vastness of cosmic prairie, adrift on the deep ocean of time. A single one amongst countless others.
Some may argue that a diamond is still a diamond, even if it is one amongst millions. It still shines as brightly.
Well, I do declare someone might say that, dear lady. If someone thought that the human race was akin to a precious jewel. But increasingly hypothetical someone would not be me.
We focus on the entrance hall of the house. Data arrives and is greeted by a doorman.
Good afternoon, sir.
Data.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. I would like to speak to Guinan.
And you are?
Data.
Mr. Data. Could it be under another name?
No.
I can't seem to find your name on the guest list, sir.
I am a personal friend.
Madam Guinan has discovered many personal friends since the newspaper announcement. But if your name is not on the guest list, there's nothing I can do.
It is urgent that I speak to her.
Data pushes past the doorman and continues into the house. The doorman attempts to stop him.
Sir, unless you leave this house immediately, I will send for the police.
That is an excellent idea. I will wait for them in there.
Data shuffles past the doorman and gets through.
Sir, please, you can't go in there.
We focus on the ballroom. Data bursts in. The crowd is aghast at the intrusion.
Guinan.
A Frenchman!
Excuse me. I must speak to you immediately.
Forgive me, madame. He just barged right in.
I am sorry for the disruption, but he would not believe me when I told him we were friends.
Do I know you, Mr.
Data. Yes, we were on a ship together.
I do so much traveling. What ship would that be?
The Enterprise.
Is that a clipper ship?
It is a starship.
A starship? What registry would that be?
Of course, Mr. Data. Excuse us. We have so much to catch up on. Excuse us. How are you?
Guinan leads Data out of the room quickly. Clemens is suspicious. We focus on the garden.
What exactly are you?
Android, artificial life form.
Ah, did my father send you here? Because if he did, you must go back and tell him I'm not done listening to.
I was not sent by your father. Circumstances demand that I take you into my confidence. I require your assistance.
Guinan touches Data's nose.
Boop. Sorry.
I am from the 24th century, where you and I serve aboard a starship.
And?
Our ship encountered a species who appears to be threatening 19th century Earth. I investigated and was inadvertently pulled into their temporal vortex. When I saw your photograph in the newspaper, I assumed you had joined me from the future, from the Enterprise. I knew your species was long-lived, but I did not realize you had visited Earth so long ago.
A whiff of cigar smoke gives somebody away.
Eavesdropping is by no means a proper activity for a gentleman. Nonetheless, the deed is done, and I did enjoy it.
We focus on the Davidia. Oh,
no, it's my
No.
turn. I was just waiting for the type. Who's typing? Captain's log, stardate 45965.3. An away team has beamed to the surface with a device which may enable them to phase shift into the alien world.
we focus on the Davidia cavern. The away team are setting up pattern enhancers.
Okay, counselor, right over there.
Troy puts down her pattern enhancer. Dr. Crusher is scanning the area.
The triolic waves end right here.
Crusher points out a spot, and Riker puts down another enhancer.
Mr. Worf?
Worf puts his down. They have encircled the cavern. Picard beams in.
LaForge!
We're ready now. What? Oh, sir?
How soon will you be ready?
Turns out, not that hard. We're ready now. Captain, the subspace field is established.
I'd be more comfortable if you'd monitor our progress from the bridge, Captain.
I have reason, good reason to believe that my presence on this mission is imperative.
Imperative?
Yes! Mr. Worf, you will report back to the bridge.
Sir, as Chief of Security, my place is by your side.
The security of the Enterprise is of paramount importance, Mr. Worf.
Plus, his forehead isn't easily covered by a knit hat.
True.
Yes, sir. Worf Enterprise,
Go ahead.
beat me up.
Proceed, Mr. LaForge.
I've modified this tricorder to interface with the subspace generator. It should allow me to control the phase discrimination, assuming this is going to work at all. I need everyone inside the field. Adjusting synchronic distortion, 0.001, 0.002, 0.003, and 0.004.
The aliens that Data described earlier come into view. Picard looks closely at one nearby. Geordi scans with his tricorder.
If we can see them, why can't they see us?
The phase displacement might not bring us far enough into their perceptual range.
Small balls of light circle the cavern and enter into the hole in the alien's forehead.
These strands appear to be biomagnetic, variable flux, possibly organic in origin.
A life form?
No! There is no life here!
But aren't the aliens alive, Troy?
What I have sensed is more like an imprint, an echo of that last moment of life. Human life. They all died in terror.
A bright light and wind, then two figures appear. One has the snake cane and the other a case. The one with the case puts more strands into what appears to be a feeding station.
My God! They're delivering more of them for the others to ingest!
Look at what he's carrying!
Troy notices the snake cane as it comes to life and starts to emit electrical charges. The light portal opens and the figures go back through. Picard leads the away team to follow them.
Come on, everybody! We're gonna go into this portal!
We focus on a street. Samuel Clemens is walking down the street speaking to a reporter who is busy taking notes.
I have long been interested in the notion of time travelers. In fact, I wrote a book about it. It chronicles the tale of a man of our era who fouled the 6th century by introducing newfangled gadgets and weapons, all in the name of progress. This idea of time travel is not so far-fetched as it might seem. In fact, I have learned that even now there are people from the future right here in San Francisco, and I have no doubt that their intent is to foul our world just as my Yankee did in King Arthur's time. Well, sir, let me serve notice. As soon as I have the necessary evidence, I intend to expose them and make it absolutely clear that they are not welcome here.
Yes, sir. And will this be a sequel to Connecticut Yankee, Mr. Twain?
The name's Clemens, son. Sam Clemens. I oughta smack that taste out of your mouth. That's with an E.
Okay.
In taste.
The taste will be out. Okay. And, of course, with an E. With an E. Got it.
Data comes out of the hotel. Clemens spots him.
Excuse me.
Data begins walking down the street. Sam follows closely behind. They both pass by the Davidians, who are walking the opposite direction, looking quite sinister, though no one pays them any attention. We focus on the morgue. Riker is there, dressed as a police officer. Dr. Crusher, dressed as a lady, is busy scanning the dead bodies with her tricorder.
The coroner said this is where they kept all the cholera victims.
It doesn't make sense that so many people are dying of cholera. It just isn't that virulent. Will, this is strange.
What? What is it?
The cerebellum, the cerebral cortex, the brainstem, the entire nervous system has been depleted of electrochemical energy. Here's another one. Same neural depletion. These people did not die of cholera. They died because their neural energy was drained somehow.
Drained and taken to Davidia 2 for those aliens to ingest? If you were a time traveler with a taste for human neural energy, where would you get your supply?
I would travel back to a time when there were plagues and epidemics, so I could murder and use disease as a cover.
We focus on a rented room. Crusher and Riker have joined the rest of the away team. All have changed out of their uniforms into more fitting attire for the era. Crusher is briefing the team.
Over half the victims whose neural energy has been drained came from the Sisters of Hope Infirmary,
A charity hospital near the waterfront.
If the aliens have been killing people there, well, someone might have noticed something unusual.
And if they're they're moving among humans, they must have taken on a human form. But the question is, how do we know who we're looking for?
The tricorder indicated triolic activity. for most of the bodies we looked at, if the aliens left that sort of signature, I think they'll be detectable.
You know, we might even be able to rig some kind of alien alarm system.
Any luck contacting Data?
None. The tricorder's broadcasting random emissions on all frequencies his subprocessors might pick up, but the range is limited. Almost anything could interfere.
There's a knock at the door.
She's back.
Geordi removes his visor and puts on a dark pair of sunglasses.
Mr. Pickard!
Yes, Mrs. Carmichael.
Mr. Pickard, I'll be reminding you that it's 1 o'clock.
Yes.
1 o'clock on a Thursday. I'm sure I made it clear to you that the rent is always due, payable in full by 1 o'clock on Wednesdays.
Yes, the rent. Mrs. Carmichael, even now, my troupe are in rehearsals for a new production.
Oh, I haven't heard of any new production. What play is it?
The play, A Midsummer Night's Dream. We have performed in London, Paris, Milan, to sold-out houses. I assure you, you will have the rent in full with a bonus.
No. I've heard you silver-tongued devils before. I'll have the rent in full tomorrow by 1 o'clock, or it'll be out performing on the street.
We focus on Data's hotel room. Jack lets Sam into Data's room. Pretty shady, if you ask me.
I wouldn't just do this for anybody, Mr. Clemens. I hope you won't be spreading around that I'll let you in. People start talking.
Sam begins searching the room.
Of course not, Jimmy. And I assure you that Mr. Data would be most upset if you didn't. If I can't find that letter of intent that he left me, our major investor is going to pull out and take his business elsewhere.
Doesn't have to do with Mr. Data's engine, does it?
Engine?
Yes.
Oh, yes. This is exactly what it's all about. Engines. That engine in particular.
Sam reaches out and touches the device.
Ow!
He gets a shock from it.
You know, Mr. Clemens, I'm going to do you another favor today. You're always looking for good stories, right? I got a real humdinger for you. Story about my life. Now, I know you may think I'm young, but I've covered a lot of ground. And if I do say myself, I make some pretty fascinating reading. What do you think?
About what?
About writing my life story. You and me. Literary partners, of course.
Young man, I have a maxim that I have always lived by. No one is more qualified to write your story than you are.
Me? Be a writer? You think I could do that?
As long as you write what you know. You got any passions, boy? Any dreams?
I'd like to do some traveling. Maybe go to sea. And Alaska. I've had the strangest notion to go see Alaska.
That's a great idea, son. That's exactly what I would do if I were your age. Alaska. The Klondike. The Aurora Borealis. That's it. Follow your dreams, boy. And write about them, boy. Run, boy.
Thank you, Mr. Clemens. You know, that is exactly what I'm going to do.
You do that, Jimmy.
You'll see my name in print, too.
I'm sure I will if I could see.
Don't forget, the name's London. Jack London.
Goodbye now, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.
Sam ushers Jack out of the room and locks the door so he can examine the device closely. He removes a piece and the device shuts off. Sounds of a distant door and footsteps alert Sam. He quickly hides in the wardrobe. Data and Guinan enter.
I found the head surveyor. I found the cavern. You will not be able to get to it. The entrance is on a mine shaft that is the middle of Presidio on an army base.
Perhaps you could arrange for us to get in.
How?
With permission to dig for the mine shaft.
Oh no, Data. I've done everything you've asked.
I have full confidence in your persuasive abilities.
Well, I suppose it's more interesting than throwing a tea dance.
Strange. The transceiver assembly has been removed. Without it, I will be unable to track the time shifts.
Twain.
Clemens?
Yes, he's been driving me crazy. He watches the house. He follows me down the street, asking me questions. If anyone took this, you can believe it was him.
If you are correct, he must be warned. The device has been modified in such a way that prolonged contact with human tissue would be highly toxic.
There's a thump from the wardrobe. Data opens the door to reveal the guilty party. Data picks up the transceiver that Sam has dropped.
Madam Guinan, intoxicating as always, and Mr. Data.
Shame on you, Mr. Clemens. Shame.
Shame, madam? I think not. I find no shame in my efforts to uncover your plot.
I keep telling you, there's no Jimmy and there's no plot.
Yes, you do keep telling me that, and so does Jimmy. What an interesting pair you are. Where is Switzerland? Did you say you were where did you say you were from, Mr. Data?
I am French, sir, not Swiss.
Oh, yes, that's right. Now I remember. A Frenchman with a talent for poker. From what I hear, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine, Chess Whitley. He says to say hello and wonders when you're coming back.
I do not believe I know a Mr. Whitley.
No, he works at the county assayer's office. He says you've been in there a number of times claiming to be a geological engineer and wanting information about mining operations during the 1850s. Remember him now?
I am unfamiliar with that gentleman's name. I have spoken to several people at that office.
Yes, I know. And in the Hall of Records? And in the Geological Survey Society? And a little-known mineral shop in Chinatown? You do get around, don't you?
As apparently you do, Mr. Clemens.
I must admit you've got me mystified. This contraption, for instance. It's very unusual. It looks quite futuristic. Tell me, might it have something to do with time shifts?
In a sense, the time shift is a gearing system I've invented for the horseless carriage.
Do not insult me. You have come here to this century and brought your infernal technology with you for God knows what purpose. But I have no doubt it will be the people of this century who will suffer for it.
My dear Mr. Clemens, I do think we've heard enough. Mr. Data's business is his own, and I will thank you to leave now.
Well, pardon me, Madam Guinan. It is my business too. It is the business of all humanity. I believe to stop both of you from whatever it is you are doing here. And that is what I intend to do.
We focus on the Sisters of Hope Infirmary. Picard is up a ladder, adding a small device to a gas lamp. A doctor walks into the room. And just what are you doing with those lamps?
Replacing the burners. City ordinance. Makes it safer in case of an earthquake.
There hasn't been an earthquake here in 30 years.
Well then, that takes care of this ward. Time to be moving on.
Picard picks up his ladder and tools and leaves. Earthquakes. Nurse! Crusher, in a nurse's uniform, quickly hides the tricorder she's been using under her apron as the doctor approaches. If you can handle things here, I've got a meeting with a board of patrons.
I'll try to manage.
The doctor leaves. Crusher walks over to Geordi and Deanna, who are undercover, pretending to visit a patient.
There, by that bed. I can see an after image of triolic waves. They've been here recently. I'd say within the last 24 hours.
That's the bed where the man died last night.
This man was complaining about a strange doctor and nurse who visited that patient. Perhaps they're still in the hospital.
Geordi and Deanna leave. A patient starts coughing. Crusher rushes to his bedside. She mixes up a concoction and gives it to him to drink.
Here, this'll make you more comfortable.
The Davidians come into the room. The male is dressed like a doctor and carrying his snake cane. The female is dressed as a nurse and is carrying the bag. Picard's device begins to flash and Crusher's tricorder sets out an alert. Crusher presses her comm badge and joins the aliens at another patient's bedside.
Do you need any help, Doctor? Dr. Apollinaire felt he had entered the altitude stage. He was psionic, pulse unobservable. That's an interesting cane.
The alien nurse points her bag at Crusher as Riker, LaForge, and Picard rush in.
Doctor!
Geordi and the male Davidian begin to fight. Geordi punches him. Geordi has managed to hold on to the cane. Riker attempts to stun the Davidian with his phaser. It has no effect and the two aliens vanish. Back in Data's hotel room, Data's device goes crazy. He checks a map and rushes out. The actual police have arrived at the hospital. Riker, still in his police uniform, attempts to smooth things over.
Stand aside, let me in here. People said there was gunfire in here. What's going on?
Just a little misunderstanding. I was just clearing these people out.
I haven't seen you before.
I was just assigned here this morning. See, I've got this cool police uniform and everything. I used to be working downtown.
I worked downtown for 3 years. I don't remember you.
We'll be on our way.
No, wait. I'm going to ask you all to come downtown to the station for questioning, including you. Where'd you get that? That's a gentleman's cane. Never seen a cane like that before. I'll have to confiscate that for evidence.
I just want you to know that I have the utmost respect for the law.
Riker's had enough and punches the meddling policeman.
Let's go!
The team runs out of the infirmary. We focus on the street. As they try to figure out which way to go, a horse-drawn carriage comes around the corner, driven by Data.
Data!
They climb in.
Boy, are we glad to see you.
I suggest we postpone our greetings for another occasion.
Agreed! Get us out of here!
The cops come running, uselessly blowing their whistles and holding their batons. And, because whistles don't prevent anything, the away team gets away. We focus on the rented room. They are examining the cane.
If we tune the phaser to the approximate frequency of triolic waves and lay down a field burst, it might respond.
The phaser shot turns the cane head into a writhing snake's head.
The Ophidian the aliens were carrying!
It sends off energy charges before reverting back to the cane.
What the f?
These look like minute distortions in the space-time continuum, like the one we saw on Davidia 2.
But they were so small, and they lasted only a second.
The aliens appear to be able to concentrate the distortion and direct it to a specific time and place.
Maybe they have something, a mechanism that focuses it.
Any device like that would produce a significant level of triolic waves, like the ones in the cavern where Data's head was found.
I have located the cavern.
There is a sudden knock on the door.
Mr. Pickard, I know you're in there. Open the door.
Mrs. Carmichael.
Everyone scatters and pretends to be rehearsing A Midsummer Night's Dream.
How now, spirit, whither wander you?
Over hill, over dale, through bush, through briar.
Troy enters the room with Mrs. Carmichael.
Mrs. Carmichael, thank goodness you're here.
We need someone to read the part. You're just in time.
Mr. Pickard, I need to be talking to you.
Shh.
My mistress, would that be he gone?
All met by moonlight, proud Titania.
Now, Mrs. Carmichael, right there.
All met by moonlight, proud Titania.
What jealous Oberon, fairies skip hence. I have forsworn his bed and his company.
Well, I don't think I need to hear any more. That was truly unique.
Really?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have found our Titania. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I did do a truth play once.
Well, there you are. We start rehearsals tomorrow.
Picard kisses her on both cheeks. She blushes and giggles. We focus on Data's hotel room. Guinan is pacing when Data enters.
You're back. I have wonderful news. I've found a way to get into the Presidio and into the mine shaft.
Picard enters. Guinan looks worried.
It is all right.
Do you know me?
Very well.
Do I know you?
Not yet, but you will.
We focus on the street. The policemen that Riker punched and the reporter are outside, Sisters of Hope.
Thanks for your help, officer.
Now be sure you put that in part about me spotting that phony policeman.
Yes, sir, I will.
The reporter rushes off and almost runs into Samuel Clemens as he turns the corner.
Hello, son.
Mr. Clemens, what brings you here?
Writer's curiosity and a bit of creepy voyeurism. I heard that 2 people vanished into thin air in this infirmary.
One of the patients said that, yes, sir, but the police deny it.
I bet they do.
They say a band of outlaws set off an explosion in the hospital and then escaped.
Well, what did these outlaws look like?
The
Were they
carriage-
minorities?
I'm not sure, but the carriage they escaped and was driven by an albino.
Oh, Mr. Data.
You know him?
You bet I do. You say there were others with him?
Yes, at least a dozen.
His accomplices. They've come from the future. My God, it's an invasion of minorities.
Sam hails a cab.
Pretty sure I only saw one, but anyways, invasion from the future, Mr. Clemens, what can you tell me about this? Do you have any proof?
Sam climbs up the back of the cab.
When's your deadline, boy?
5 o'clock, sir.
I'll meet you at your paper at 4:30 with a story that will make your career.
Thanks, Mr. Clemens.
Take me to the Presidio, driver, and don't spare the whip. I like it.
Poor horse.
Poor minorities.
We focus on the cavern.
Sorry.
We focus on the cavern. Riker and Geordi are scanning with their tricorders.
The levels are as high as they were on Davidia 2, right? So there's no indication of a control mechanism. Am I getting this right?
I'm not so sure. My visor's picking up crystalline fractures. These cavern walls have undergone some kind of selective molecular polarization. In fact, if I'm right, this whole cavern has been configured to focus the space-time distortion. Just like a lens, Captain. We think we might be onto something. The cavern itself seems to be acting as a focusing mechanism. I'm willing to bet it's the same as their habitat back on Davidia 2.
If we can get back there and destroy that site, it might put an end to their time traveling.
We have the Ophidian.
Truthfully, I don't know that we can get back. The aliens use triolic energy as a power source. The energy our phaser generates might not be entirely compatible.
We have no choice but to try.
An event I would most certainly enjoy witnessing.
Samuel Clemens comes down the stairs into the cavern, holding a pistol.
However, I will regretfully waive that opportunity for the privilege of taking you all into the authorities.
Mr. Clemens, it is imperative that we continue our mission.
Mr. Data, I have listened to your stories and your excuses and your evasions, and I will listen no longer. It is my moral duty to protect mankind from whatever devious plans you have in mind. Now move along. I suspect that even time travelers vulnerable to the Colt 45. Now, let's go. I made a young fella a promise, and I don't want to be late.
Ooh, sexy. The two aliens appear, and the male grabs the cane from Troy. Data karate chops him and gets it back. The cane activates. There's a large flash from the cane. Everyone is thrown to the floor, and Data's head falls to the ground, severed from his body. The time portal opens. The male stumbles to his feet, checks on his female companion, sees she is unconscious, and runs through the portal.
Follow him!
Riker, Geordi, Troy, and Crusher follow the Davidian through the portal. Picard rushes over to check on Guinan. The portal begins to close. Clemens gets to his feet and dives through the portal just as it closes. Picard is stuck in the past with an unconscious Guinan.
I didn't have time to pull the sound effects for this part.
We focus on the Davidia cavern. Everyone starts to get to their feet.
Is everybody all right?
I think so.
Riker spots Clemens.
You!
Where are we? And when? Who am I?
This is the 24th century, bub. We're on Davidia 2, and you are not supposed to be here.
Well, it seems to me that I have as much right to be in your time as you had to be in mine. I wanted to see how you've conducted my future affairs.
Your future affairs?
Yes, they sound exhilarating. The affairs of mankind.
But the disappearance of Mark Twain, one of the most noted literary figures of the 19th century.
Thank you.
That's not supposed to happen.
I only took advantage of an irresistible opportunity, as any good writer would do.
Bridge to away team, acknowledge.
We're here, Mr. Worf. Stand by to transport 5.
Commander.
Riker turns to Geordi, who is kneeling by Data's headless body. It's laying on the floor, still clutching the cane.
Mr. Worf?
Yes. Commander.
Make that 6 to transport.
We focus on the transporter room.
Where are we now?
The Federation starship Enterprise. Ensign, call security. A lot of security. I want an escort for this man.
Oh, wonderful. Wait, security? What for? Are you afraid I'm going to go around stealing things?
Worf enters.
A werewolf!
It's a long story,
Ow.
Mr. Worf. I'll brief you later.
Let's have Data's body taken to the science lab. I'll try and reattach the head we have.
Geordi, that head is over 500 years old.
Yeah, but it's the just best chance we got.
Hey, don't forget, I want Mr. Clemens kept under escort at all times.
Commander, perhaps I could handle that. I'd be happy to take Mr. Clemens to his quarters.
Good idea. If you would accompany the counselor?
Madam, I'd be delighted, even with that husky voice of yours. So this is a spaceship? You ever run into Halley's Comet?
We focus on the cavern, 1893. Guinan is starting to wake up.
Shh. Gently, gently. Don't sit up too quickly.
Where'd everybody go?
I hope they're all safely back on the Enterprise by now.
But you're still here.
You were hurt. I had to make sure you were all right.
And so you stayed for that?
I didn't want anything to happen to you. You're far too important to me.
You know an awful lot about me.
Believe me, in the future, the tables will be turned.
Do we become friends?
It goes far beyond friendship.
Oh.
I don't know what that means, but...
My, very mysterious, but I'll have to wait almost 500 years, and when we meet, I won't be able to tell you about this, will I?
No, because for me, none of this will have happened yet.
What's that?
They look over at Data's severed head.
That's history fulfilling itself.
We focus on 10 forward. Guinan and Riker are talking.
History has to fulfill itself. Even Picard knew that.
You were there, in the cavern. You know what happened. What am I supposed to do?
If I told you what happened in that cavern, it would affect any decision you'd make now. I can't do that. I won't.
Not telling me might affect my decision too. Did you think of that? We're talking about Jean-Luc Picard. I can't sit around and hope it all works out. I've got to do something.
We focus on the corridor. Troy is escorting Clemens.
Any place that doesn't stock a good cigar doesn't rank high in my book.
If you must have one, I'm sure we can replicate it for you.
You think one of these imitations can take the place of a hand-wrapped Havana wrapped by a minority?
I wouldn't know.
Well, that's the problem I see here. All this technology, it only serves to take away life's simple pleasures. You don't even let a man open the door for a lady.
Simple pleasures, like minorities? Anyways, I think what we've gained far outweighs anything that might have been lost.
Oh, well, I'm not so impressed with this future. Huge starships and weapons that can no doubt destroy entire cities and military conquest as a way of life.
That's
familiar.
what you see here.
Well, I know what you say, that this is a vessel of exploration and that your mission is to discover new worlds.
A Bolian with bright blue skin comes out of the turbo lift as they get in. Clemens is fascinated.
A Spaniard! That's what the Spanish said.
That's a minority. Deck 36!
and the Dutch and the Portuguese. It's what all conquerors say. I'm sure that's what you told that blue-skinned fellow I just saw before you brought him here to serve you at your whims.
He's one of the thousands of species that we've encountered. We live in a peaceful federation with most of them. The people you see here are here by choice, including the minority.
So there are privileged few who serve on these ships, living in luxury and wanting for nothing. But what about everyone else? What about the poor? You ignore them?
Poverty was eliminated on Earth a long time ago, and a lot of other things disappeared with it. Hopelessness, despair, cruelty.
Young lady, I come from a time when men achieved power and wealth by standing on the backs of the poor. So many backs, where prejudice and intolerance are commonplace, and power is an end unto itself. You're telling me that this isn't how it is anymore?
That's right.
Maybe it's worth giving up cigars for after all.
We focus on the science lab. Geordi is busy working on reassembling data.
Any luck?
Not so far. His activating units won't initialize. I thought they would have been protected by his buffering program, but I guess 500 years is just too long a wait.
Clemens looks over at the table of trinkets found in the cavern.
My watch! You stole it!
Yeah, it was found in the cavern where Data's head was. I guess after 500 years, that's not likely to work either.
Mr. Data, I fear I sadly misjudged you, as I have misjudged many things.
We focus on the cavern, 1893. The female alien is waking up, flickering between human and alien.
Can you communicate?
Yes.
You're injured.
Why have you interfered with us?
You hunt us. You kill us. We cannot allow that.
We need your energy.
Perhaps we could find a substitute?
No, there is none. We must continue.
We know how you move back and forth through time. My crew has returned to the 24th century to destroy your transport site on Davidia 2.
Destroy it. Your weapons will only amplify the time distortion. You will annihilate your own world.
Oh no!
We focus on the observation lounge.
I'm going back for Captain Picard. Mr. Worf, assemble an away team to accompany me to the surface. Doctor, I need to know anything you can tell me about that Ophidian.
I just started running some tests. If I can have a few hours.
I can't give that alien any more time.
Well, I haven't been able to determine if our phaser energy can generate a stable field. The risk would be...
I'll take that risk.
Sir, permission to speak frankly.
Go ahead.
Our priority is to stop the aliens from any more incursions to Earth. Any delay is unacceptable.
If I can save Captain Picard, I consider that very acceptable.
The captain would not. I recommend we target photon torpedoes on the alien habitat and destroy it immediately.
He's right, Will.
Power up to photons, Mr. Worf. Alert me when they're ready.
We focus on the science lab. Geordi is still busy at work trying to get data back up and running.
Computer! Initialize the reload circuits.
Reload circuits are initializing.
Okay, Data, this ought to do it.
Geordi uses his light-up wand on Data's exposed positronic brain.
I don't get it. I don't understand why this isn't working. Computer, run me a diagnostic on the input polarizers.
There is intermittent contact with the input polarizers.
Intermittent?
Geordi opens the back of Data's head.
What? An iron filing? How'd that get in there?
We focus on the cavern, 1893. Picard picks up Data's head and opens the back. He picks up a small piece of metal and starts messing with Data's brain. We focus on the bridge.
Commander, I have set the photons to fire in staggered rounds, detonating in 10-second intervals.
Very well. Fire when ready.
The sequence will be ready to initiate in 1 minute.
We focus on the science lab.
Computer, run another diagnostic on the input polarizers.
Polarizer circuits are functioning.
Well then, that ought to do it. Okay, Data, come on now.
Geordi hits Data's on switch on his back, and Data comes to life.
Torpedoes phasing. Alien. I am processing a binary message entering into my static memory by Captain Picard. Geordi, are we planning to fire on the alien habitat?
Yeah, but...
It is imperative that we do not. I will explain later.
This is the weirdest comm badge I've ever...
Hold on, I'm working on it.
See.
Oh, there we go. LaForge to Riker, hold your fire!
We focus on the bridge.
It's a good thing it wasn't an emergency.
Data has arrived to fill in Riker about Picard's message.
The binary message left by the captain is not entirely clear. He seemed to be concerned about the phase differential of our photon torpedoes, that firing them might produce catastrophic effects.
Then how would we destroy their habitat?
If I'm correct, we must modify our weapons so that the force of the explosion is rephased into the alien's time continuum.
If we outfit the photons with phase discriminators, we could get the variance we need.
Look, how long is this going to take?
At least a couple of hours.
Fine. I'll have time to go get him then.
Sir.
I'm going back to the 19th century to get the captain. Doctor?
My analysis of the phasers suggests you'd be able to open the rift, but it won't be stable enough to transport more than one person.
You mean if I go back, only one of us can return?
That's right.
Clemens interjects because for some reason he's just on the bridge. Great security, Worf.
Then I have the perfect solution for you. I'm the one who should return to the 19th century and remain there so your captain can return here.
There's a risk. We're not sure how stable the rift is going to be.
There's a risk in everything. The point is, it's the right choice. I've got more books to write, and your captain has a job to do here.
Oh my God, wasn't this guy supposed to be escorted? Geordi, you brief him on what he needs to know.
Aye, sir.
I'm glad I have the chance to thank you.
For what, sir?
Why, for starting me out on the greatest adventure our man's ever had. And for helping a bitter old man to open his eyes and see a young, handsome bellboy. The future turned out pretty well after all.
We focus on the cavern, 1893. Guinan is still not doing well.
I'm thirsty.
I'm going to get you help. We have to get you out of here.
No, don't go. They'll be back for you soon.
No, you need help.
Clemens comes running in, holding the snake cane and out of breath.
This thing put me down in the middle of Market Street. Took forever to get here.
We focus on the bridge.
Commander LaForge has completed the reconfiguration of the photon torpedoes.
If Clemens got back, the captain should have been here by now.
We have no way of knowing if Mr. Clemens was successful.
Then reestablish your firing pattern, Mr. Worf. We'll give him 5 more minutes.
Sir.
We focus on the cavern, 1893.
No time for chit-chat, sir. According to Mr. LaForge, who did get your message, by the way, a frequency setting of 0.047 on your phaser will correctly activate this creature.
Now, you have to get help. That was another 47 reference, and I don't care much for it. Guinan also needs medical attention.
I promise you she will be attended to.
And there is to be a bill settled at Mrs. Carmichael's boarding house. If you can get her a role in like a play, that would also be nice.
I'll settle it for $47.
Oh, no! Thank you. I wish time would have allowed me to know you better.
You'll just have to read my books, all 47 of them.
Oh,
what
no.
I am is pretty much there.
I'll see you in 547 years, Picard.
I'll see you in 47 minutes.
We focus on the bridge.
Commander, I'm picking up massive triolic wave activity on the surface.
Is it the captain?
There are no human life signs.
No sign of a temporal distortion?
No, sir, but triolic activity is increasing.
The aliens. Mr. Worf, are the photons ready?
Yes, sir.
Fire.
Torpedoes away, sir.
Sir, I'm detecting a temporal distortion on the surface and human life signs.
O'Brien, get him out of there.
O'Brien transports Picard. Go home, O'Brien. You're drunk. O'Brien transports Picard off the planet just as it begins to explode. Although we don't see him because this was made at the same time they were filming the pilot to Deep Space Nine.
That's right.
Transporter room, have you got him?
He has indeed, Commander. And believe me, it's good to be back.
We have destroyed the target. There is no further indication of triolic activity.
Ensign, lay in a course to the nearest starbase. Warp 6.
Captain's log, stardate 46001.3. Everyone who should be in the 19th century is safely there, and those who should be here in the 24th century are here. Mr. Data has been restored to us, head and all, and Samuel Clemens will write the books he was to have written after our encounter.
We focus on the cavern. Clemens is directing medics who have Guinan on a stretcher.
Now be careful, boys. Don't jostle her too much. Leave that to me. Don't worry, Madam Guinan. You're going to be fine.
As Guinan is carried away, Clemens picks up his broken watch, starts to put it in his pocket, and then puts it down again to be found with the other artifacts in 547 years' time.
That's the end of that one, guys. Thank you. It only took us an hour and 38.
Not bad.
Whoa, woo-hoo. Good job, everyone. Oh wow, that was a lot of fun. We okay, so hey, I'm Dave. I was playing Picard. Jane playing Dr. Crusher and that alien.
The alien.
And you were and the doorman.
The doorman.
And the doorman. Of course, we had the great Davin Scalehorn playing our Mark Twain, our Samuel Clemens
Very
himself. He had problems with minorities, but he came over it. It was all right.
He's from the 19th century. Of course he does.
Yeah. Well,
I've read Huck Finn. He did have a problem with my.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, I think it was artistic license. Of course, first time joining us ever on one of these. We had Jeff Akin from the Starship Leadership Academy podcast. Thank you very much. Number one.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. I even adjusted my little thing.
I know.
Here.
Yeah. Get those rank pip proper. In case
Yes,
of
sir.
time loop, sir. And we need to give the indication that your suggestions are right. Of course, we had André Myette playing Lieutenant Commander Data in this one.
Yes.
Good job, André.
You'd be a great Vulcan in another episode.
Thank you. I would happily do so.
You had a lot of technobabble and a lot of monologues, and you did a great job.
Yeah, there are a lot of words that I had to read in advance as they came up and be like, oh wait, like how does this go? Triolic, you say? Okay.
Well, some people say that, not others.
Yeah, well, I did as best I could, but thank you. This is a lot of fun. I'd like to do this again.
Great job, Andre. Heather Narduzzi for the first time ever on a Star Trek Radio Theater with us, playing Madam Guinan.
Oh, as you can tell by my hat.
Yes.
She looks very much like the evil vampire from Resident Evil 8.
Yeah,
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is. She's a great
From Andre,
character.
it is.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm a little worried about what Samuel Clemens might have in store for you back in the air.
I know. I think I'm getting jostled. Me and Clemens and Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Jimmy's young Jimmy.
Speaking of which, my son Eamon Mater playing the part of Jack London. I don't think
Thanks,
he's still
Eamon.
on the feed anymore, but good job, Eamon.
He checked out. He's long gone.
He's long gone. He's like, I'm done with my lines are done. I'm out.
He's like, fuck this, Dad. I'm out.
He's off to Alaska to write White Fang.
That's right. Yeah, he's off writing.
Yeah,
Jack
Eamon had
London
no
book.
idea who Jack London was. So I can kind of explain that.
That's hilarious and sad all at the same time.
Yeah. Of course, we had radio theater alumni, faithful Tom Mott Tyrell, along with his dog.
Oh, look at that pupper! Look at him.
Yeah, he did Worf.
He's a great, adorable pup.
Oh, so Mott was playing, of course, Frederick LaRoque and the policeman and one other role, I think.
Worf.
The scientist at the beginning, right? Lots of different voices in this. So Mott calls me today. He's like, "How do I speak French in this line?" Give me this line in French.
You just make it up like I did because I had no fucking clue what I was saying.
I was like, "Mes parents." I was like, "Why didn't I just do this line?" But I was just like, I gave it to Mott, so it was. But yeah, I was like, "Mes parents," the originaire, whatever it was. But we did it like a few times. You did it good. You did it good.
If you
Mott.
say it with confidence, it's all matters.
Yeah.
Mott doesn't have our trauma of growing up and learning French.
No. Well, Jeff and Mott are our two Americans on the panel tonight.
Only the English.
Of course, we had Michael Chan playing Counselor Deanna Troy, amongst other roles. The reporter, that anxious reporter with.
It's so good.
With
When I realized you were Troy, I had to stop from laughing every time you heard your voice. Like I was like, "What the hell is happening?" It's so good.
I just had to remind myself you were also that seaman, that pirate as well. And the roughneck man who called the gate of the Frenchman initially.
Your dedication to your seaman was very, very.
We were all that seaman.
I'm always dedicated to my
You get a fist across the jaw for your trouble, though. And of course, Jessica
Karate
Chan,
chop.
who's I imagine has gone off to 10 with your son, was playing the role of Mrs. Carmichael, who will be starred in A Midsummer Night's Dream in the near future. Watch out, or in the
Mrs.
past.
Carmichael.
And last, we have the Kevin and Ashley Millard. Kevin playing Geordi LaForge and the old 49er. Ashley, our narrator, of course, and as well as the angry doctor who was taking names.
Yep.
And all those
49er
things.
was great.
Love the 49er. Loved a lot of great voices and little bit roles and kind of fun things in this whole story. It was kind of fun just to take this two-parter that was really filmed like separately. Like these two episodes were filmed very differently and different sets and everything, and bring it together in one story. I thought a lot of fun. What do you think, Jane?
That was fun.
Jane
Nice
thought
to
it was
get- nice
fun.
to get back at it.
Mhm.
It's been a while.
It had been March
Yeah.
was the last time we did it.
This
So-
was super fun. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah. What we're going to be doing, the next one, we're probably doing a smaller cast because we're planning to do Conundrum with Steve Shives. He's going to come in with us. And we're going to try to, because Conundrum, if you didn't know, was kind of like the original test we did for Star Trek Radio Theater. Our unaired pilot, we sometimes call it, when we were just kind of messing around one night during the pandemic and was like, hey, what if we just read a script?
Yeah, we got drunk and decided to read a script, and we were like, this should be something.
Yeah. And then
I think alcohol should be a prerequisite. I think it's pretty important.
well, and the first time Davin did with us, he was playing Zephram Cochran, who was
Well, his
very
Samuel
method.
Clemens was like a vaudevillain like voice. It's so good. It was almost like a Peter Lorre meets I'm not sure, but it was so fantastic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
take
it.
Oh yeah. Like, oh, you tell me that's the way it's over now. Yeah. Like even
My
that
daughter,
original-
you say?
Yeah, it's such a I say. And I do.
You should be drinking mint juleps, Devin. I hope that's what's happening.
I know, man. I should have been. It was just beer, though.
You're not dedicated. You're not dedicated to craft, sir.
It's true. I'm dedicated to craft beer.
Yeah.
I apologize for the lack of sound effects in like the second half of the story because I ran out of time. And so like, and Ashley's describing all these things that are happening, and it's just like, and we'll move on to the next slide now. So I'll make an edited version that has.
Well, it's why I paused in between each one so you could edit it easily. Because I was literally going through, going, I'm pretty sure I added sounds in between.
You did.
You did. Like, he definitely ran out of time.
I was like, I thought I was gonna make it because I was like, oh, it's mostly tricorders and whatever, and then I was like, oh no, it's like
tricorders.
Yeah, which I have on stock, right? But when I have to pull like new sounds like these Davidians and explosions, it just takes longer. So
did your finger slip on the transporter or what?
That was a slip of the transporter.
Not just a slip for the poor fellow on the transporter pad.
Yeah, he's done.
That's why O'Brien got shipped off to Deep Space Nine.
That's right. Yeah. They're like, O'Brien, get him out of there. But he doesn't even say, "I, Commander," or "We got him," or
nothing.
Picard's like, he does indeed have me.
Well, this makes me want to go watch Next Generation because I honestly like the Deep Space Nine is like my Star Trek, but I've never watched really much of the Next Generation, so I have to go back and watch it. This will be my intro. It was a lot of fun. I was like, I should watch the episode. So
yeah.
I watched Deep Space Nine several times and love it dearly, but I got to go.
Best story ever told.
Yes. This is a real coast-to-coast production. We have Jeff in Oregon. We got on the West Coast.
Well, you said they're Americans here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been a part of this, so I'd known Americans were part of this.
We had somebody had to class this thing up a little bit.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Sure.
Yeah.
Whose tea do you think that was at that whole Boston tea
That's
party?
true.
It was Andre's.
It's gone. Gone now.
Yeah.
No more tea.
We got Mott in Philly. We got Heather and Davin and Andre all on the East Coast and the Maritimes. Of course, us in Ontario, like the Chans and the Maters and the Millards. So yeah, all around we were, and Eamon too. He'd be here with us in Ontario. So yeah, great time. What you guys think? People in the comments, great job. Even the minorities liked it.
we got a minority approval. We're set. We're set.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one.
Oh, good. It's good that we had someone weigh in because otherwise could have been in trouble otherwise. So. We're validated now.
One comment was, "It's data, Jeff, not date." I don't know how Jeff was saying it.
I love it when he just wrote it as a sentence because like you could interpret it anyway. So you're like, it's data, not data, idiot.
Oh, Jeff had to go. I saw here he had a comment. Oh,
yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for being with us. Yeah, he's on the West Coast, so a bit of a difference here. Okay, well, guys, maybe we'll do the rundown because I know it's an hour later for you guys out east. Thanks for being with us. Well, look out for the edited version of the radio theater. The Live Long and Podcast channel here has got all kinds of great Star Trek podcasts, like our Deep Space Nine review back now to finish up season 7. We just did Enterprise this year. Like we're all completely wrapped on Enterprise. So there's a review there of everyone there. Davin and I and others have talked about, Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks and Picard this year and all kinds of shows. So lots out there. In Star Trek land, of course, we have trivia's coming up. Davin just did an interview with J.K. Woodward. Yeah, the artist from comic books.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, so all kinds of great stuff here on the channel. Of course, the United Federation of Podcasts, our greater network of podcasts, featuring shows like Graphic Histories with André Myette. If you didn't know, he interviews all kinds of people from film and TV and entertainment. Who's the next up on your show, Andre?
Christopher Sequeira is the next one, who, if you're a Star Trek fan, you may know as the writer of the Halloween episode, which is Halloween, which is the holodeck Halloween kind of mashup in which a bunch of the characters from the Next Generation become Universal monsters. So great talk with him, and I got a bunch more episodes coming on. It's been great. Yeah, we got a lot of really cool people coming along.
Awesome. Yeah, we've had him here on the Live Long as well.
Yeah, super cool guy. I think I talked to him at like 11 o'clock at night my time and like 11 in the morning his time because he's in Australia. But super fun conversation and super cool guy. Yeah, really nice. So Joe Esma, who wrote that, who drew that comic, was the previous guest, which is on the episode that just dropped. and Christopher's in the next one. So we have a couple more in the pipe for the next two, and more coming down the line as well. So yeah, it's going really well. Great talk. If you like those sort of interview conversations, super fun.
Great. And I was just on your other podcast, X-Rated, with Davin Skellhorn, who's also here tonight, covering X-Men. We talked about X-Men 2000. Davin
and Davin loved it. It was his favorite movie.
It was his favorite movie. He went back to 16-year-old Davin, and he loved the movie again.
He loved it so much.
Almost as much as the American president, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
He loved the American. Davin loves the American president. He loves anything to do with American politics, and he certainly loves X-Men movies.
Yes. There he goes. Of course, the Michael Chan. He's in the Federation with the Hellbound podcast, a horror movie podcast he does with Alex Blackburn. I realize you guys are back. What's new over on that show?
We're half back. We half back because we haven't actually recorded anything since the last episode dropped, but we are planning to. It's just a lot of life stuff happening. So
understand. It was one of those years for us too. Of course, you also should check out the Hold Up podcast, a movie podcast with Davin and Andre. Sorry, Davin and Murphy.
Have I replaced Chris Murphy? Am I
no.
Podcast? Nobody told me, but I'll do it. I mean,
okay, well, maybe it might
you won't do it.
I would do it. I have more time now. I would happily do it because
that's true. You do.
You two like. When I met Murphy in real life in Toronto recently, I had to apologize. I said, Murphy, I feel so bad for you because listening to you get chewed out by Davin every episode of that podcast is agonizing to me. I wish I was there to support you.
No, I do my best.
So look out for that. I think you guys just you're talking radio movies.
Yeah, we didn't do that yet. It's gonna happen on like December 28th or something. Now we'll eventually get to it. Like,
you're doing
good. That's good.
You're doing Radioland Murders, Pontypool, and what's the other one? Airheads, which is like tentatively a radio movie. It's so
definitely a radio movie,
I guess.
At a radio station.
Yeah, that's about it. That's the only thing.
They're getting a tape to play on the radio movie.
No, you're right. You're right. 100% right.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. I'm actually that one seems the most on brand. Like whenever they do movies that are like about something, I'm like there's always like one that seems okay, this makes sense. The second one's like, all right, tentatively it's okay. The third one's like wildly in left field. This is the first one where all three movies seem to kind of work for the theme they're going for. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm a big fan of the show. I love it. I listen to every episode.
Also,
everybody go watch Pontypool.
Eamon Mader has his podcast called Eamon On Track, where he reviews music albums. Recently had Kevin Millard on talking Nine Inch Nails, and I believe he's going to have Andre on talking about the Pixies in the near future.
Doolittle, yeah, one of my favorite albums.
Yeah, so
I gave him two options, and he came back to me and said, "We'll do both, but we're going to start with Doolittle." So, I'm a huge Pixies fan. I'm very excited to talk about it. So. I don't know what the date is. He hasn't told me, but I'll be there.
Well, you have to nudge him, or I'll have to nudge him. Or,
I was like, I'm the guest. What do I have to nudge him? Like, all right, you got to figure it out. You pick the date.
You know, these Gen Z kids. What are you gonna do?
Oh, come on.
And then
these Gen Z kids.
Stop pretending like Canadians say Z.
We say Z, Club Z, and everything.
I say Z.
Club Z. No one says Club Z anymore.
This is what I equate it to. It's the villain from Power Rangers, Lord Zed. You're not going to call him Lord Z. Zed is way cooler sounding than Z.
Yeah, it was Zed in Men in Black.
Although if you look at like the arc of like when you do the alphabet song, it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, P. But when you get to the end, it's like everything is E sounding, and then when you get to Z, you're like Zed. It's very different than everything else. It does not sound right.
My favorite is when British calls them Zebras instead of zebras.
Zebras.
So do people in Africa where zebras are from. So
yeah,
it's actually
it is zebra.
That's true. That's fair. Zebra is much. I'll take zebra.
All right, and lastly, we have the Super Mater Brothers podcast covering reality TV.
We are the same, McLeod. We are brothers.
And this this Wednesday, we will be covering the finale of Survivor 45, the 13th episode of the season. Jane, do you think you're going to be winning with Julie?
I might.
You might.
It could happen.
You think I might be winning with Jake?
No.
No?
Definitely not.
I think it might be
No
me.
way. Not going to
Watch
happen.
out. If you want to know who wins our draft, check it out on Wednesday.
No one cares. Well,
no.
Trivial debates. Jamil says trivial debates.
Oh, I don't have a banner. Do I have a
Yeah,
banner?
we do.
Oh,
Yeah,
here's
we
one.
do.
Trivial debates. Recently had Jody Simpson on talking Transformers, and I think this Disney episode's been pushed, but
That
What's the
Transformers one
what's the
was
Disney-
surprisingly great. Go watch.
What's the Disney debates?
well, Jamil Robinson will tell you all about it.
Jamil's here.
Oh, we still.
Jamil.
Oh, okay. Show's still going on. Yeah, Disney episode. We got our contestants. We got a little delayed, but it's going to be a fantastic episode. Check us out in January, where we will be on.
Jamil is so prepared.
And
Like a
he
whisper.
turned off his camera. And Heather, anything else you want to promote or speak to while you're on?
I'm not a podcaster, but you can go listen to my band. We're called the Galpines. We're on Spotify and Bandcamp, and it is not safe for work. Look out.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Okay. That sounds good. And I think that's it, guys. I don't think I've missed anything. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays and all that, and New Year. And thanks so much for staying on late here. I know it's been 2 hours. Jane just got back from Germany and Switzerland and France, so she's jet lagged. She's looking to go to bed. She's giving me that look like, Dave, wrap up the show and let's go to bed. So that's what we're doing. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. And to all the cast. And we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone.
I got
Bye.
to
Bye, Condilus.
Bye.